Does it mean something? We're feeling in the spotlight. You look slightly nervous.
The good thing is, these days it doesn't get hot.
Well, that's true. Are you all right?
Bald spot. Totally happy.
Feeling very positive.
Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the first evening event of the Bishop's Castle Arts Festival. Escape routes, there's one over there and there's one there. And for those of you who actually know our wonderful playwright, there are sit backs available. There'll be a short interval after the first act of about 10 minutes and then two short acts. Where are we now? I've got lost in my thing here. There are drinks available downstairs, and at the end, there's a contributions box for the Arts Festival Fund. There's also a feedback form, and also a mailing list if you want to go on that. Anyway, I hope you enjoy the evening. I'm sorry. There's one last time.
The script will be available.
The script is available. Yes.
Nibbling on the power biscuit. He likes to spin it out.
He likes to keep nibbling until everyone else has finished theirs.
He has a lust for power. I could write a novel by Dostoevsky in the time it takes him to start a council meeting. Oh, for a mayor who isn't a megalomaniac.
But except your novel wouldn't be by Dostoevsky if that was your maiden name, which it isn't.
You're summoned to attend a meeting of Bishop's Castle Town Council. Right, be upstanding. Come on, be upstanding. Thank you. Do we have any apologies?
Yes, Lord Clive. He has a bad back and sadly he's dead.
Ah, right. Yes, be seated. Do we have any apologies?
Yes, Lord Clive.
Oh, yes, you said.
But sadly he's dead.
Right, yes, I got that. Okay, right. Any declarations of interest?
I think. Shut up, Deborah.
So you're Deborah, are you? Now, don't get above yourself. Too many members seem to think that election or nomination to this chamber is just a ticket for self-advancement. And I would be as a sardine amongst minnows if I were to encourage them. Except, of course, from an early age, I was convinced that I should become a shark. Convinced that I should aspire to sharkdom, indeed. Shark Poo-Poo Maguire, to give it a proper zoological appellation. Do we have any, did you circulate the minutes of the meeting, Mr. Kowalski?
I did. Everybody has them.
Ah, then. Do you approve of the minutes of the last meeting as an accurate record? Good. Right, I'll sign them. So, 21st February 2003. Very good. Okay. Now then, any matters arising? No? Well, that was easy. Right, good. We'll move on to item 1 on the agenda. A one-way system up the High Street with dual carriageway bypass on Love Lane, together with High Street widening. All those in favour?
I want an otter to share my bed with.
Sex is a mirage, elusive as the memory of a book, too swiftly read and then discarded.
I want a pint of 3X.
Oh, be quiet, will you? Must we wallow in gibberish quite so early in the proceedings? Ooh. Hello? What? Who are you? What? Gibberish? Oh, skip to the script? Oh, right. Yes. Yeah. Yeah. All right.
Who was that?
Come on.
Well, yes. Well, it was the Archangel Gabriel. And well, to sum up.
He said, what?
Well, the Archangel Gabriel, yeah, I mean, he sounded very, very cross. He had a message from God, and he was asking if we believed in predestination, in divine providence, in God's will.
And what's that got to do with Bishop's Castle?
A message from God should come through the church. This is not the correct forum.
He said we should pick up the script, and if we carry on, God will put a stop to it. He said anybody would think we had free will and that all has not been preordained since the beginning of everything, even before Satan descended into hell. He said we're to stick to the script. And if we don't, well, thunderbolts don't adequately describe what God will do to us. Think red-hot tongs. He went into some detail. God seems to be a lot more vengeful and jealous than what we are told as children.
What?
The script! Pick up the script!
Better had me squeak. Let's not tangle with divine powers.
Yeah, just read it. Read from the script.
He keeps looking at me.
Who?
Him, Poo-Poo. I think he fancies me.
I would interpret it as a look of disapproval if I were you. Disapproval enhanced by shock. He's not used to taking calls from angels, and he's not used to fancying objects beyond the vast defensive walls of Chateau Poo-Poo's self-esteem.
Well, I think he's looking at my chest.
He's looking over it into the middle distance, imagining he's President of the United States, or the Pope.
Yeah, where were we? Yes, yeah. Oh, yes, matters arising. Any matters arising? Well, that was easy. Now, back to item 1 on the agenda. The one-way system up the High Street with dual carriageway bypass on Love Lane together with High Street widening. All those in favour?
I think,
You like the idea, do you?
well,
May I call you Mother, Mrs. Kowalski?
I expect nothing less, dear boy. Do you remember when we used to drive to Yorkshire for an exchange of manor houses? The draftier, the better. I think it was Yorkshire, but it might have been Africa. You were such a sweet little thing on the back seat with your banjo.
And my sister Deborah beside me. Oh, I loved that banjo.
I wish he'd stop looking at me.
Point of order.
Yes, Mr. Kowalski?
Deborah could not have been sat on the back seat of the car with me speaking. She's half his age.
I fail to see what this has to do with the one-way system up the High Street, dual carriageway bypass, and on Love Lane. As town clerks go, you're not very fast.
Keep a civil tongue in your mouth, Poo-Poo. Mr. Kowalski is Mrs. Kowalski's husband, and that makes him my father. Insult my father, and you insult me.
I wish he'd stop looking at me.
You're mistaken, my dear. He's looking at me, Squeak.
What do you think, Mother? Do you like the idea of a one-way system?
I hate it. We Kowalskis care deeply about the Bishop's Castle area, my boy. Not that Poo-Poo would understand, being an incomer. Not like us Kowalskis. We've been here since time immemorial, since my father-in-law bought the estate with his lottery winnings just before the financial crisis, which is practically forever.
We are to the county as red currant jam is to game pie. We've eaten enough pheasant and other game to populate the Serengeti. And as for the foxes who have met their ends in our hands, their number is beyond computation. I don't think anyone can dispute this.
You're right, the one-way system is an abomination.
Indeed. If your father were here now, he'd have a fit.
But I am here.
He would die of sorrow. A dual carriageway, a one-way system. What monstrosities the modern world creates when driven by avarice and ambition. I weep for what Bishop's Castle could become. My tears a salt lake, and in the centre a traffic island, the Forgotten Isle, with me beneath a road sign, looking for a handkerchief and a model of poo-poo to stick pins into, while above me, by-law circle, wetting their beaks.
Don't cry, Mother, it's only a traffic issue.
Only a traffic issue. If your father were with us now, he would marry us off.
No, I would not.
But you're my mother, why would I marry you?
She's everybody's mother. She's everyone's and no one's. She likes it that way.
Don't get above yourselves. My maternal instincts are easily confused with a desire to crush and destroy.
Why can't I play with me Squeak in the car? It's just not fair. He gets all the attention.
Take heart, Mother. They would have to knock down all the houses on the west side of the high street for the one-way system if it's to be fast enough, and they'll never get permission.
Don't call me mother. I'm your wife-to-be.
Stop looking at me. I don't like it. I do like me Squeak. I think he's got some inner strength.
Yes, I'm not looking at you. I'm looking through you. I don't see a character suitable in any way for a town councillor. I see a sparrow on a branch, chirruping and looking for a mate, a little flighty sparrow on a mate hunt.
Any mate in particular?
Well, I assume she's interested in me, despite her protestations to the contrary.
We cannot destroy half the high street without county approval. Most of those buildings are grade 2 listed. It won't be easy.
Where there's a will, it's for the good of the town. There's the business part to consider. It's what the town wants. We'll get there. Why must I strive alone? Am I the only person on the council to see the benefit of dual carriageways, mass tourism? Since I was a small child, I have stood without, on the doorstep, looking in, forlorn and unloved, barefoot in rags of disapprobation. I was Sir Poo-Poo Maguire, the misunderstood, in my boyish games, and now I wear my passion for public improvement as a shield against the animosity of fellow man.
Come off it. You've never been Poo-Poo Maguire. Your real name is Pete Dunhill.
I was once Pete Dunhill, you're correct, but I changed my name for reasons of security. One can't be too careful in these dark times.
Security? We're in South Shropshire. Outside the land of dreams, there's nowhere more secure than where we sit at this moment. Bar a few onlookers, we could be alone in the universe, or on a small boat bobbing on the ocean, 1,000 miles from land. Indeed, since living here, I've come to wonder if I am indeed alone in the universe, and you're all an invention of my lonely mind.
If you proceed with this traffic system, Poo-Poo, your name will be inscribed on tablets of doom in the lowest circles of hell, along with Adolf Hitler and Genghis Khan.
It's not his real name, so he probably doesn't mind.
Do you defy the popular will?
You're not the popular will. You're just someone called Dunhill with a Bentley.
And what would you know about the popular will? You're just an incomer.
And from what the Kowalskis say, so are you.
Let's move on to item 2. An act of worship. which seems timely in the circumstances. Mr. Kowalski, I believe you're the proposer.
Thank you. I suggest we start each session of the council with a short act of worship. We need a civic religion to bind us together, to arrive at a more sympathetic understanding of our common duties and interest towards the people of this town.
Sounds good. I'm an atheist, but I value ceremony. How do you see it unfolding?
A small libation of holy oil to be poured at the feet of our beloved mayor before the reading of the minutes, and a gift of flowers, followed by a short oath of submission to be taken by each member of the council in turn.
Yeah, good thinking, Mr. Kowalski. You're a man of vision, like me.
I like the ceremony. If we could have cake rather than flowers. But I'm opposed to the object of worship.
You'd be honouring the office, not the individual. All those in favour, assuming we have cake.
I won't worship you if I don't want to.
Well, you'll have to, or you won't get any cake.
It's a good idea in principle. We need structure. We need leadership. People round here remind me of a herd of gnome, fighting for a place in the mud round the waterhole, and no one to keep order.
Well, thank you, Mrs. Kowalska. I've always suspected you were a woman of wisdom. Will you marry me?
I'm betrothed to my son, the Meesqueak.
You tell him.
But alas, I gave my word to his late father.
You call me late? I'm breathing, aren't I? There's blood in my veins. If you pinch me, will I not squeak?
Is all those in favour? Good, I'll take that as a yes. Motion passed.
Do you find Meesqueak attractive, Mrs. Kowalska? Do you feel a little flutter when you see him?
On the contrary, the thought of Meesqueak appalls me. I loathe the thought of union with my own flesh and blood. If I can take his word for that connection. But I've promised, and a Kowalska never breaks her word.
I'm not your flesh and blood, Mother. You misunderstand me. When I asked if I could call you Mother, I was seeking security in the storm, shelter from the howling winds of disagreement that rent our council chamber in this violent age. I merely wanted to be your conceptual child, and Deborah my conceptual sister. I never thought you would say yes. At best I hoped for adoption, or even a position as godson. When I heard you speak of the banjo, I was greatly heartened, suspecting that we shared beloved memories.
I have a kind heart. Why else would I recognise you as my son, despite my dislike of you? You're a runt of a man.
You loved me once when I was small.
Yeah, well, anyway, we've made a step forward on the one-way system, and now we have an act of worship, which is more than you can say for most town councils. What's next on the agenda, Mr. Kowalski?
It says here, the invasion of Russia. Noble proposal, Putu.
The invasion of Russia, that must be a typo.
No, it's correct. I can't proceed with the invasion of Russia without the full approval of the meeting. I may be a battle axe amongst knitting needles, but even I cannot entertain such a proposition on my own.
I think you're being over-ambitious.
Before I even visited the palace, before the king asked me to form a government, I had you in mind for Chancellor, Meesqueak. Do you remember how I rang you up and asked you to take on the portfolio?
Well,
You said that I could count on your support. Look at you now.
But it's absurd. We need a new bus shelter, and you seem to squander our hard-earned funds on tanks and artillery.
What's Russia ever done to us?
Well, I'm with Poo-Poo. I had a Russian boyfriend once, needy little jerk. Took me ages to get rid of him.
How did you do it?
Well, I told him Tchaikovsky was gay.
But he was gay.
Well, it did the trick.
Some cabinet lot you are. I should banish you all from Downing Street. You people only see the next hillock. I see the distant horizon. It's imperative that we invade Russia. They're getting stronger by the minute.
Why not China? The ministry says they're up to no good. You're getting it wrong, Prime Minister. The king has a lot to answer for.
Yes, why not China?
I've got an idea, Mrs. Kowalska. Why don't you go ahead and marry Poo-Poo instead of me, Squeak? Poo-Poo's already suggested it. You would make a lovely couple, a power couple. Both heads of Department of State and all that. And he's not your son, which makes it even better. Just think of the cocktail parties. It'll be like gelding around. Poo-Poo confined within domestic hedges, unmanned by soap and shopping. He'll be a new man once you tie the knot. And thoughts of Russia, they'll just go out of his head.
Marriage demands more RAM, not less. Like most prime ministers, I have insistent genitalia.
You forget that I am my wife's legal husband, and we can't count him as bigamy, whether to me, Squeak, or Poo-Poo, however much I admire the latter.
Could you love Poo-Poo?
I don't love anyone. Love is for the staff.
What about me, Mother? Would you cancel our marriage for reasons of realpolitik, simply to soften Poo-Poo's passion for war? I'm no runt. I'm me, Squeak, the far-seeing and Chancellor of the Exchequer.
I can't abide the sight of you. I'd rather sleep with a woodlouse.
What happened to the dear little boy with the banjo on the back seat of the car?
Hold on. I think I made a mistake. The agenda does not say invade Russia. Russia has been crossed out with a faint line, and in pencil in the margin it says invade Clan from Mainstone. And then, but nuke it first.
Poo-Poo needs professional help. A talking cure might do it. If not, I propose a lobotomy.
Does it matter who we attack, as long as we attack them? I leave detail to the little people. Okay, so I meant Clan, not Russia. Wise up. It's nearer, so it's more of a threat.
I frequently feel that I'm alone in the universe, and this meeting is testimony by which its weakness proves my suspicions justified. It's impossible to believe in it, or in Poo-Poo, not as things real, not as things exterior to myself. As I've suspected since earliest childhood, it's all a con, an illusion, and not just this meeting. Everything else, everywhere, that's all a con too. It's all imaginary, formed in the empty air that drifts between the neurons in my lonely mind.
Resign! Resign! I'll find a new Chancellor. There's the general election to consider.
I stand alone, and nothing exists beyond the boundaries of myself. I contain everything, and everything is subsumed within me. That is my sad and solitary lot. Russia, Clun, the wide world, Bishop's Castle Council are all mere products of my mind. How I long to escape as a cloud drifting over towns and cities, over the populated plains and the high mountains that fall away to the blue ocean and beyond that, the curve of the world. But there can be no respite, because the very horizon and curve of the world are also products of my mind. If I could kill myself, I would, but no suicide is possible, given that I'm the prime cause of all. How I long for another, a mother or a friend.
So you think you're God?
I suppose I do.
So the scripts were your idea. You ordered the Archangel Gabriel to phone. You're a control freak.
We could do worse. You're better than Poo-Poo. I'm happy to read my words. Just grant me long life, happiness, and some children.
I'll go further. You can be the mother of all future people. Any future Adolf Hitlers, Genghis Khans, Mozarts and Albert Einsteins will carry your DNA.
That's not fair. Why Deborah and not me?
Have you offered to prostrate yourself before me, to sacrifice a bull, having poured holy oil onto the sacrificial knife?
I will, if you insist.
Would you willingly mistakenly take off your clothes and cavort naked in a cave high above Church Strecken, in Dionysian delirium, worshipping the Godhead, by which of course I mean me.
I would, and rhythmically.
I'm sorry, but I find it hard to imagine, and as I've just explained, that is significant.
Out of order. We've already agreed our pre-meeting ceremony and libations. We have a civic religion, and poo-poo is at the apex. We have no need of another.
Religion? Religion? Be silent, fat suppuration of my teeming brain. Begone to dumpling land. Never say the word religion in my presence. There can be no religion for the believed in, no fatty oil of incense-laden reassurance to soothe their fretful brow. What I perceive with my sorrowful, all-seeing eye is not a matter of religion. It's an existential problem concerning the universe. All else is dross.
Oh, I love you. I worship the ground on which you tread.
Well, I could make you disappear, Mr. Me-Squeak the Imperishable.
Oh, dubious figment, if only you could. If only you could take me with you to oblivion. If only we could descend the dark and lonely stairs together and drown ourselves in the anaesthetic swamp of oblivion. If only we could.
Yes, I wasn't intending coming with you.
Unfortunately for you, when I cease to exist, everything else ceases to exist.
To think I nearly married him.
He was very convincing.
A dolphin eats a poisonous jellyfish by accident. The dolphin sinks many fathoms through the waters of cod and other surface marine life down to the deeper levels of giant squid and other denizens of the watery depths, and lower still to where sightless pseudo-fish search for prey with electronic tentacles, right down to the ocean bottom, where anaerobic bacteria fester. And there, the dolphin dies and rots away in the blackness, consumed by microorganisms immune to the vast weight of water above them. And what remains when the microorganisms have done their work?
The poisonous jellyfish?
Exactly. The dolphin dies, but the jellyfish contained within it remains alive, and this jellyfish can withstand the water pressure of the ocean depths. It feeds on the dolphin's carcass so that at some point it becomes difficult to know what is dolphin and what is jellyfish.
You mean that which contains something may be subsumed into some part of what is contained within it?
Precisely. God, for instance. Give up the fight, Me-Squeak. You don't have the balls for it. I shall become you and sleep with your mother.
I need mascara and deep red lipstick, whatever the outcome.
On my way to the meeting just now, Me-Squeak, I called in at the co-op. I was looking for char-grilled artichoke hearts, asparagus and a decent vintage champagne. All I came out with was a packet of dry roasted peanuts and the bottled tears of a dormouse preserved in light vinegar. Why does the universe contain Prosecco, Me-Squeak?
There must have been a reason for it, but I can't remember what it was.
You carry such a weight of responsibility on your shoulders.
It's hard.
You're to blame for everything, and that must be hard to endure. When I was a little girl, I used to play with my twin sister on the lawn. We were identical in every respect. You be Deborah, one of us would say, and I'll be Jessica. But we could never remember which one was which. And now, since she was gored by that horrid bull in Pamplona and died on her way home on the hospital plane, although I wasn't there to witness it, I have difficulty deciding which one to be every single morning when I wake up and start the day. Am I Jessica, I ask myself, or am I Deborah?
And which one are you?
Well, why do you ask?
Well, perhaps you're Jessica.
Well, thank you. It must have been hell for me denying my existence, if Jessica is who I am.
So, when do I get to sleep with the bride?
Well, first you must dispose of me squeak, Poo-Poo. Before carnal union with Mrs. Kowalska, you must first suck out me squeak's powers while assisting him to non-existence in the ocean depths, metaphorically speaking.
Ignore her. I can cope, Poo-Poo.
You're making a mistake.
Bong!
Ow!
I will not accept that I am a figment of Meesweek's imagination. Bong!
Ow!
See, I could never do that if I was not for real.
You're right! How foolish we were to accept his subjective ruminations. There's no need for me to descend into the watery depths, metaphorically speaking. This man God is no God at all!
What a little jerk!
Ow! Could it be that things exist independently of my self-wrought boundaries despite my earlier conjectures? Can it be that beyond the high battlements that surround the all-encompassing kingdom of Meesqueak, a kingdom which I had thought to contain all that exists, beyond those high battlements lie other kingdoms, hostile kingdoms, the kingdoms of Poo-Poo Maguire, Mrs. Kowalska, Mr. Kowalski, and even the combined kingdoms of Jessica and Deborah? I fear for my sanity. My kingdom may be no more than a collection of squalid huts. The hut of fear, the hut of self-loathing, the hut of spineless compromise.
Take that on! And that on! Oh, I propose that we deselect this excuse for a councillor from our deliberations. Let him leave us forever.
Seconded.
Ow!
Minuted.
Be gone, foul godlet. Never darken this council chamber again.
Oh, such cruelty! How can you all be so unfeeling? Come on, Meesqueak, I still think you're God. Let me help you down the stairs.